Hello everyone, 76 Patriot here, and today I'm going to be discussing something that happened several days ago. So basically, one of the most prominent organizations that deals with elections and electoral predictions in the business basically shifted a bunch of state races towards Republicans and towards Trump for the presidential election. Now, if you don't know, this is Sabato's crystal ball out of the University of Virginia, and it is not a Republican leaning organization by any means. It is quite liberal, even though it pretends to be nonpartisan. However, this is a good sign for Republicans that one of these liberal, outlets would be doing this. And so they actually moved 6 overall races in 6 states, well, one's a district, towards Trump. So here's the breakdown right here. You see they moved Alaska. That makes sense. I mean, shouldn't have been likely in the first place. Georgia is big. They actually moved it to lean Republican. Iowa, Ohio, no surprises there due to trends with white working class voters. Maine, same thing. Pennsylvania, they actually had leaning Democrat, which was really stupid to toss up. So this is good, in my opinion. This is a good sign for President Trump. And then, of course, Bob Casey, yeah, should never have been likely. But still, this is good when you have liberal Democrats and people like that doing this. So, as we can see, here's their very subjective, of course, electoral map. And this is honestly not too far off from my personal predictions, although I would have Michigan as a toss up for sure. This is actually interesting that they put Georgia as leaning Republican. They list, I won't just gab too much. They actually list, if we go down, their reasoning for moving these races. So Georgia, and they mention, it was Democrats' narrowest presidential victory, and this is big. It may be a little bit more Republican at its core, and I agree with this. I think out of all the swing states, Georgia is by far the easiest to pick. There have been significant election legislation passed since then. Maybe not as much as needs to be, but compared to any of the other states, absolutely. Democrats, even though they won a couple of the Senate seats, and it mentions that right here, yeah, in 2022, actually, statewide Republicans did really good, whether that's governor, lieutenant governor, all those, attorney general, whatever. Whereas not the case in Arizona or any of these other states. So to me, that is pretty interesting, and that this may be the most interesting race that they shifted on here for sure. It's Georgia, and I get that. Pennsylvania should never have been leaning Democrat, and they explain a bit why. Um, and I think this is the state. I actually did a video on this not too long ago that I think Trump has a pretty high ceiling in. I mean, the math is difficult. Don't get me wrong, but I would not be shocked if he won by 3 or even more points, considering Biden's collapsing support in the metro areas and possibly collapsing support among minorities. So then Maine, Alaska, Iowa, Ohio, kind of boring stuff there. That should all be, go handily for Trump this time. It basically didn't change Iowa and Ohio from either of the past between 2016 and 2020. Um, so, and then he, this kind of goes on to some other electoral stuff. But this is big. The fact that we have a very liberal lean, even though they try to disguise themselves as nonpartisan, one of the prominent outlets for election predictions and analysis in this field. And they are moving every single race towards, if not toss up, outright towards Trump, with Georgia being the biggest one. So I think this is great. I think this is confirmation of polls, of trends, of Republican registration in a lot of these swing states, of just the genuine momentum towards Trump and the Republican Party that we are seeing. So overall, I think this is good news for Republicans. I will say with one caveat, we cannot get complacent. We have to pretend that we are losing by a big margin. We have to pretend that, because if we don't, we'll stay at home, get complacent, and we'll do nothing. And who knows, bad things happen when people get complacent and think they have it in the bag. So the work is only beginning for this year's election. We still have months to go. And with that said, there's still other things that can go wrong. If you look back at my last video dealing with 5 strategies that Republicans need to win big in 2024, there's still questions out there with election integrity, with just candidate quality. There's still questions like that for whether it's the Senate or other um, non-presidential races. But nonetheless, right now, I don't think anybody can deny, even liberals like this, that it is not looking good for Democrats at this moment. So on that note, this will be a short video. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy this, and have a great day.